Let me share a common mistake, common oversight, common uh, underthought that so many people make um, when selecting, when wishing to, and when looking to collaborate into a coach to client contract. And I'm sharing this with you because I've experienced this now just recently in my selection of who I want to work with. So I worked with a client for over 3 years. And you feel you have a really good relationship when you work with someone on that one-to-one basis. You really do feel like you've got a connection, and you really do feel like you have an understanding of that person that you're working with. Business owner, successful business, turning over $500,000, but only ever worked with himself as a business owner, never with a business. And then what happened was, he then asked myself, after working with him for about 3 years, to go into his business as a retainer. And basically, where Paul was working with him, worked with his whole business and all his staff. And what was my oversight? My oversight was actually not to do my due diligence, not to do my research. Basically, go into the business on the mirror of what he was presenting to me, or was being presented to me as where his business was and the success of his business. And then getting in there, within the first week, I realized that his perception of where his business was far from the reality of where his business was, the reality of the reality of the cohesiveness of his staff and everything really within the business, which put me in a very difficult place now. Actually, I put myself in that place. And why did I do that? How did I do that? Because I made a measure of the coaching relationship that we had over the 3 years being the absolute measure of where his business was. And the reality is, my perception of where he was from the coaching I was delivering and he was presenting to his business was very different to the undercurrent of what was happening within his business. The reality is, I didn't actually know his business, I only knew him. The reality was, I had no idea really what was going on in the depth of his business. I only had an understanding of his version. So what am I getting to here? 6 months in, 6 months of a 12-month retainer contract, then it abruptly ended. And it was hard for me. It's hard for me for that, to see and to feel that happening. The reality was, my doing. I was very unprepared. So what have I learned from this? What I've learned is that if you work with a client, it's very different to working within a client's business. When you're coaching a business owner, it's very different to going in and coaching the business of that business owner's business. And although I've kind of been here before, this one was different for me because I had a very close relationship with this client. So what does that mean? Did I get too close? In the sense of, did we pass the point of coach and client? Possibly. Did we pass the point where I was professionally coaching this person? Instead, we were on the verge of buddies, coach, mentor, support. I don't know. It's hard for me. 20 years in, I'm just sharing that, it's easy to get to that place as a coach where you become past the point of coach and support, or it's still there but not in its professional alignment the way that it should be. And so why I share this is that be cautious, be diligent. Yeah, it's been a long day. Been on this ferry for a couple of hours now. Yeah, but no matter where you are, no matter how long you've been in your industry, it's very easy to have a little oversight on your own part. To see that, I don't blame the business owner at all. I blame myself for not measuring the way I should have, not assessing the way I should have before going into the business. This journey is my style, but hey, hands up. So always keep your eye on the ball. Always be sure that regardless of the collaboration you're in, you have an awareness that it is business still. Happy days. Keep yourself sharp. That's what it's about.